You've probably seen those videos where someone builds an app from scratch in 5 minutes with AI. Honestly, they're not very useful if you're building real enterprise software. We don't get a blank slate. You and I work on living systems that keep businesses running. And those systems are complex because they deal with the real world. So today, I want to show you how I use Antigravity 2.0 on enterprise code and highlight the exact features that I found to be most useful. Welcome back. Ever since Antigravity 2.0 dropped, I've been using it every single day on a complex enterprise code base. And what I've found is that it works best when you treat it less like a text box and more like a digital intern. I even call him Ducky. Framing it this way reminds me that I'm the mentor. I have to set boundaries and coach Ducky to get the best possible results. This is a 2-part series, and today I have 5 specific tips on exactly how to brief Ducky before he touches a single file. I wish someone had told me these things before I got started. Let's dive in. Tip number 1 is all about breaking the repo walls. Most real enterprise apps don't live in just one neat folder. The app may have a front-end repo, a backend repo, and maybe some shared internal packages. With Antigravity 2.0, I can include all those repos in a single project. Ducky can then work across all those repos at the same time. That way, I can tell Ducky to make cross-repo changes. For example, if he needs to tweak the data model on the backend, he can then jump over to the front-end repo and fix the TypeScript interfaces so everything matches up. Moving on to number 2, the hierarchy of rules. Before I let Ducky write code, I need to tell him how my team prefers to build things. Antigravity 2.0 sets this up in a neat hierarchy. Global rules at the top, project rules in the middle, and README files in individual directories at the bottom. Global rules live in your home directory, in the .gemini subdirectory, in the gemini.md file. I use these rules for the big global stuff that's true across all the applications I work on, like telling Ducky that the maximum line length is 80 characters. Project rules live in the .agents/rules directory in the project root. I use this to tell Ducky what the coding standards are for this particular project or application. I also found it useful to drop a simple readme.md file directly into specific folders for hyper-local context, like how to run the integration tests in the backend directory. As a bonus, these readme files have helped my coworkers too. Now, tip number 3 is a big one. Contain the blast radius of any mistakes. In the agent settings, I usually pick the custom security preset. I make sure that it always requires my review before running terminal commands. I worried that this would get tedious, but as I worked, I could easily list common commands when they were run. Over time, I built up a list of allowed commands without having to list them all ahead of time. Then, I make sure to enable sandbox mode. It's still a preview feature, so don't expect miracles, but the official docs say it's explicitly built to restrict destructive shell operations or unauthorized remote network calls. It basically acts as an operating system level containment ring, so Ducky's automated loops can't run wild on your machine. Finally, look past the tool and lock down your Google Cloud projects. In an enterprise environment, your daily dev machine may have access to a development project in the cloud, but it shouldn't have access to production systems. By cutting that link, an AI agent or a human intern cannot accidentally touch real customer data. That brings us to tip number 4, which is how we talk to the agent. When I'm trying to figure out a tough architectural problem or nail down a complex requirement, I never start by typing a prompt. Typing locks me down, I don't associate freely, and I notice I try to type as little as possible, which leaves out all that messy context. Antigravity 2.0 has native voice input now, and I use it for all my initial planning sessions, before we start writing code. I treat it like I'm pacing around the office, talking through a problem with the principal engineer. I talk out loud, bring up the weird legacy quirks, and just let it be messy. By having a conversation and going back and forth with the model a number of times, we can land on what I actually mean. It's a massive upgrade over trying to write a short book of text just to get the agent up to speed. And finally, tip number 5, my absolute favorite trick to close out the setup. Let the agent interrogate you. The easiest way to do this is the grill me / command. Enterprise requirements are usually complicated, and I never remember the full context when I'm explaining a feature. So I let the AI double check my homework. Once I finish my voice prompt, I just type /grill me. This flips the script. Ducky stops taking orders, looks at the codebase, and hits me back with 5 or 6 really sharp questions about requirements that are too fuzzy or architectural decisions I need to make. Answering those questions up front is easy, and it saves you from rewriting a bunch of broken code later on. So our workspace is connected, our rules are set up, guardrails are locked, and we got a solid plan. Ducky is fully briefed and ready to go. In part 2, we're going to let him loose to actually write some code. We'll look at handling execution loops, letting him self-correct compiler errors, and how to do visual QA. Are you using Antigravity on an established codebase? What are your favorite tips? Are they the same as mine, or are they different? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one. See you in the next one. Thanks for watching.